That morning, the courtroom felt colder than winter metal. Not the kind of cold you feel on your skin, the kind that settles inside your ribs. Even the walls held their breath, like they were waiting to choose who they belonged to. Behind me, cameras clicked in greedy bursts. A reporter whispered my name wrong on purpose. They always did when they wanted to paint you as a character instead of a person. On the bench sat Judge Margaret Hale, the woman who used to drink tea with my mother on Saturday nights. Her gold-rimmed glasses reflected the light in a way that made her expression unreadable. Conveniently unreadable. Across the aisle sat Councilwoman Serena Ward, posture sharp enough to cut glass. Next to her, my father Daniel Ward pretended the floor was the most fascinating thing he'd ever seen. Her attorney shuffled his papers with the smugness of someone who already thought the ending was written. Then the line came. The one that punched harder than any accusation. Some people only know how to squander what they never earned. That some people was me, her daughter. The girl she had ignored for years. The obstacle between her and the inheritance my grandmother, Evelyn Hart, left behind. It wasn't greed that shook me. It was how casually she delivered cruelty. Like she was born with that skill. The judge gave the tiniest nod. Her lawyer smiled like victory had already sipped tea with him that morning. But they had no idea how long I'd been preparing for this day. They didn't know the price I'd already paid to survive this. Family. When I stood, the scrape of my chair against the marble floor sounded like a warning bell. 2 words. That's all it took to slice through the performance. And trust me, if you've ever watched family turn into your enemy, you'll want to know what happened next. My childhood never felt like childhood. It felt like an audition. Redwood Heights, the town, not the dream, sparkled on the outside. Perfect lawns, perfect families, perfect lies. Inside our home, affection was a vacation no one could afford. My mother treated warmth like a luxury item she loaned out during election seasons. My father existed in the space her ambition didn't need. Silence was safer. Stillness was rewarded. Invisibility earned peace. But my grandmother Evelyn, she was my first experience of sunlight. She smelled like rosewater and old books. Her hands were soft but steady. Her laughter didn't need permission. She taught me one rule. Money isn't meant to be worshipped. It's meant to be used. Every weekend, I followed her to her community scholarship center. Photos of graduates covered the walls. Real people, real futures. My mother called it small. My grandmother called it purpose. They were related by blood only, not by values. When the forgetting started, it was tiny. A misplaced sweater. A repeated story with the wrong ending. I told myself it was age. Then dementia stepped into our home like an uninvited guest that refused to leave. At 23, I moved into her cottage. My mother didn't protest. It made her political schedule easier. Those last 2 years with Evelyn became the kind of education no school prepares you for. Her mind flickered like a candle in a drafty room, but her smile always found its way back to me. Even when she forgot my name, she would squeeze my hand like her heart remembered. Meanwhile, my mother visited only for photo ops. Fresh flowers, camera crew, fake concern. Everything staged. Everything hollowed. A month before Evelyn passed, I found a sealed envelope with my name written in her steady handwriting. Inside was her will. Everything, the estate, the savings, the foundation, she left to me. Because she believed kindness had to be funded, protected, passed down intentionally. When she died, I didn't collapse. Grief had already been living with me. My mother delivered a performance at the funeral that deserved an award. People applauded. I felt sick. For a while, things were quiet, too quiet. Then a letter arrived from Briggs & Porter, my mother's law firm. Someone had told her about the will. Someone always tells her. That same evening, she entered my home like a storm wearing lipstick. The look in her eyes. Not grief, calculation. That was the moment I understood. Love had skipped a generation, and now the war had officially begun. Autumn arrived, gold and peaceful on the outside. Inside, chaos stretched its fingers slowly around my life. Articles began appearing. Daughter manipulates ailing grandmother. Family betrayal over inheritance. Community hero's legacy at stake. Her fingerprints were all over it. Whispers spread through town like wildfire in dry grass. My father called once. Can't we handle this quietly? That was the moment I realized he wasn't a participant. He was furniture in her story. I hired attorney Riley Monroe, a woman whose calm could unnerve thunder. Document everything, she told me, so I did. threatening letters, anonymous messages, vehicles idling outside my home, rumors carefully planted. Meanwhile, my mother dazzled the public with charity drives and moral speeches. The same hand signing legal threats waved compassion in front of cameras, but the more she performed, the more the pattern emerged. Point one name kept appearing. Over and over again. Judge Margaret Hale pictures. Donations just below reporting threshold. Archived posts. Fundraisers. Private dinners. Not coincidence. Connection.my home turned into a war room. Timelines, printouts, receipts, financial logs. Each one a puzzle piece. Until the structure revealed itself. Not corruption born from panic, but infrastructure built carefully for years. A network designed to protect her ambition. Not justice. Not family. Not legacy. Control. Riley organized the evidence like architecture. I learned patience the way soldiers learn breath control. Point one night. A tiny detail snapped the picture into focus. The same sponsorship pattern repeated across two different events 3 years apart. The judge's charity and my mother's campaign feeding each other like twin vines. Not influence, interdependence. Riley looked at me and said, "This isn't accidental. It's engineered." And that's when everything inside me hardened into resolve. Courtroom morning, sterile, quiet. Too bright to be safe. Reporters waited. Whispers spread like static. My mother arrived dressed in grief she didn't feel. Her attorney smirked. Judge Hale sat with perfect neutrality, the most suspicious expression of all. The hearing began. Her lawyer painted me as naive, irresponsible, unfit, unstable. My mother added tears at perfect intervals. Tio the room. She looked believable. Tio me. It was choreography. Then it was my turn. When I walked to the stand, the silence felt like gravity. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't tremble. I opened the first folder. Then the second. Then the third. Financial links, photographs, community board records, campaign overlaps, donations, dinner events, committee memberships. All leading to one undeniable conclusion. The judge and my mother weren't merely familiar, they were connected. Strategically, consistently, deliberately. When I placed the final photo, Judge Hale at my mother's private fundraiser, the whole room shifted. The judge froze. Her breath caught. A twitch of the hand. A crack in the mask. A reaction she didn't have time to hide. Riley stood. "Your Honor, we file a motion for immediate recusal." The courtroom snapped open like a wound. Judge Hale tried to recover, but everyone had already seen the truth written on her face. Her ruling was rushed, mechanical, panicked. She upheld the will, dismissed all claims against me, granted full inheritance to its rightful recipient. And my mother didn't blink, because blinking would have meant accepting defeat. The gavel fell, and the sound felt like a chapter ending itself. Judge Hale resigned within days, citing health concerns. The Judicial Review Board launched an inquiry before her signature dried. Councilwoman Serena Ward's campaign took its first hit in a decade. Walls that once protected her began collapsing from the inside, and somewhere in that wreckage, I found something that had been missing for years. Not victory. Not revenge, peace. Not loud. Not cinematic. Just quiet, earned peace. If you walked beside me through this darkness, don't let go now. Subscribe. The next shadow already knows your name.